Hello, welcome to Postcolonial Space. I'm Masood Raja, and today I would like to share a little bit about my recent book, which was published yesterday. And I've been talking about it frequently, but I thought I should share the news that it has now been published. So the title is Democratic Criticism, Poetics of Incitement and the Muslim Sacred. The book has been published by Lever Press. And Lever Press, the reason I love them so much is because they are a fully open access press, and they publish good academic peer-reviewed books without charging anything to the authors or charging anything to the readers. Now, Lever Press came into being through a consortium of about 50 liberal arts colleges in the United States whose libraries pooled money to make it possible for the press to publish quality monographs and edited volumes on literary studies, but also on education as born native digital open access books. And that is the reason I had proposed this book to them. Democratic criticism primarily deals with a really specific issue in literary studies, and that is when we teach or read texts that are about Muslim cultures or Islamic history. What I noticed the tendency in the American Academy was to teach those texts from a purely Euro-American perspective. So the meaning-making processes that we teach in our English departments were applied to these texts, which to me came across as an imperial act because it reduced the complexity of those cultures and made them available to our students and even our scholars within the framework of their own Eurocentric thinking processes. So what I tried to do in this book was to challenge that assumption, to force, in a way, politely and gently, my former colleagues and the students of literature here to encourage them to learn about other cultures, but especially in this context, about the Muslim world in general. What are their meaning-making processes? What is sacred to them and why? What makes them sad? What makes them angry? Because without understanding that, it is not possible to teach, let's say, a text like the Satanic verses, or to teach anything about the Muslim world. Because at the end of the day, if they are not learning about the cultures and the settings where the stories are placed, they are just reducing those stories and novels through the matrix of their own culture. And that is one thing, we absolutely do not do in literary studies. We always encourage our students to get to know the subject matter, to get to know the other. But my attempt also is to feel, right? To feel for the other. If Muslims were angry about the publication of the Satanic verses, or if it made them sad, was it just an atavistic response? Do we just need to tell them, grow up and read differently? Or do we need to understand where does that anguish come from? Where does that pain come from, right? And so that's the attempt in this book. I think there are 6 chapters, and I highly encourage you to read it carefully and respond to it. I have never really published a perfect book. I'm pretty sure there'll be flaws in it. But by and large, my argument is that at both ends of the global so-called divide, our students in the United States and elsewhere need to learn the meaning-making processes of their Muslim brothers and sisters and everyone else out there. And then the general Muslim readers also need to develop habits of thinking more democratically in a way that even if they disagree with certain views, they at least have the patience and forbearance, to read it and respond to it. So that's the attempt in the book. Now, the book is freely available. It's open access, and I will post a link to the in the description to the permanent link. You can browse it online, you can download it, you can share it. But here is a request. Now, Lever Press is a great publishing house, and I do want to support them. And the best way we can support them is by actually visiting the link, by exploring my book, but also by exploring their other books. Because at the end of the day, they keep an account of how many visits are there and how many people are actually using the materials. And the more people use what they've published or read what they've published sends a message out that open access publishing at this level is important and needs to be supported. Now, if you go and read my book online or download it, it also sends an important message to Lever Press that maybe they need to commission more books like this from scholars from all over the world. So that's also a very important message. So I highly encourage you to visit the link, check out the book, read it, teach it, and maybe talk about it and let me know what you think about the book. As I said, it's not a perfect book. I've never written a perfect book, but it's a book that I invested a lot of emotional and intellectual energy in. And I would love for you to read it and send me, your words, your thoughts, your ideas, or just your impressions. That's it. Just wanted to introduce my book, Democratic Criticism, Poetics of Incitement, and the Muslim Sacred, and share with you the online link for the free version. And I hope you do go and take a look at it and explore it. Thank you so much. And as always, peace and love.